Hello there, crafty friends. These are some rather curious and weird and odd extra large ATC cards that I've made. I've done them as a Halloween inspired project, and it's using a digital kit by Luise Heinzl called Do It Yourself. The kit is a little different to what you would normally get. It's ephemera and it's a mix and match of these curious little creatures, and you can add different hairstyles or hats and mix and match them, add wings or arms. It's really a lot of fun. This is the digital kit printed out, so I'll show you. You can see the base of the little creatures. There's different faces, different bodies, hairstyles that you can add. This is so unique and different. Even glasses and wings and hats. And I absolutely loved working with this. It was super fun, something really different to work on. And I think it suited, obviously, because it's like a Halloween theme, it's suited for this time of year. There are so many ways you could use this kit. You could use them in a journal, you could make tags, you could use them in your art journaling. It really is very versatile, and they print really well. The colors are really bright, and they're really fun. And I like the fact that they are different, so it puts you a little bit outside your comfort zone to try something new. These purple pumpkins are just amazing, and I've used them in my project, which I'll show you shortly. Just wanted to page through the kit so you could see all the beautiful pages. There's some spooky castles, some bats. The uses are endless. So I decided to create two extra large, I would call them ATC cards, I suppose. I'm using these jumbo playing cards, which I'm going to alter. I'm starting off at the base. I'm going to add some tissue paper that I'm going to use also to create some texture on the base. I have some Mod Podge. You could also use craft glue or gel medium if you have. And I'm using tissue paper from a dress pattern, and I use this quite often in my work. I do love that it's really fine, that it's got already that vintagey brown color, and it works really well. So I'm sticking it down, and I'm using the markings as well. I like the black markings or writing as that shines through to the top layers. And as I'm placing it down, you can see I'm not making it smooth. I'm purposefully, first of all, leaving it to hang over the edge roughly. I don't want it cut neatly. I want it to be hanging off, and then I want some buckling and rippling. So I'm pushing it with my paintbrush and then sort of making it crinkle on the top. And now I'm going to add some gesso. I'm adding the gesso while the Mod Podge is still wet, and that is just because it helps it blend. I'm not adding it everywhere. I'm concentrating over where the wrinkles are on the tissue paper, just roughly putting some gesso on to give it additional texture and contrast. I'm going to add additional texture using a stencil with some texture paste. You could use any stencil that you have. I have this one that I really enjoy working with. It leaves a bit of a lacy or doily feel, which I think, because I'm making a spooky, curious type of project, this sort of softens it a bit and gives it a different kind of feel. So I'm not adding the stenciling everywhere, just in certain areas on the card. Once the texture paste is dry, I'm going to add some color. I'm using some oxide inks. You could use acrylic paints, watercolors, any kind of color that you have. I'm not spraying the ink on, I'm just dabbing it on, and then I'm using water in a spray bottle to spray it and let it on its own run down. And as you can see, when it runs, it goes in between the grooves of where the stenciling is and leaves a beautiful, like a negative feel. I like the way it doesn't cover everything, it just goes in between. And I'm just using multiple colors. I'm trying to go for the vintagey greeny colors, and I always start with the lightest color first. I haven't planned this background. I'm working intuitively, so you'll see me adding the color. I might use, here I'm using a paintbrush to try and blend the color a bit more. Earlier I was splotching the ink on. It's sort of, it experiments a lot of the times, and it's a lot of fun to try new ways and new things. And to not always have a plan. Work freely, allow your art just to develop. That's the fun of it. I'm loving the way this is working out. The colors that I'm using are giving it that, maybe you could say, a bit of a moldy kind of look, which I think suits the spooky Halloween images I'm going to use later. So it looks a bit like lace, maybe like old lace curtains that were found in an attic, sort of that kind of feel. And I think it's come out quite good. I like that the card and number the diamonds and the numbers are shining through as well with the red, which makes it also just another level of dimension. And you can see there where I left the tissue paper crinkled, the color collects in those areas, so it makes those extra little marks on the card, which just gives it more texture and a different feel, some more interest for the project. I'm now going to add some contrast with some black acrylic paint. I'm applying this the same way as I did the ink, applying just a few dabs in the corner and then spraying with water from the spray bottle and allowing it to run down on the textured area. And some black splotches just for fun. Some stamping with a script stamp and black ink. I now have a black colouring in pencil and I'm just doing some scribbles. It's a little difficult to see on the video at this angle, but the scribbles are visible at different angles, which I'll show you at the end of the video. I also have this white acrylic marker that I'm going to do some scribbles to. Distressing some of the edges with black ink. Not all the way around, just the flatter areas that don't have overhanging tissue. Now that the backgrounds are done, we're going to create our little creatures. I'm just going to go through all the printouts and choose, for each card I'm going to choose one character. I like the one with the one eye, and I'm going to give him some pumpkin hair. And then I also like the funny old lady. She's got a very peculiar face, and I wanted to give her a really bright wig. And of course, because everything looks great with wings, each character is going to get a set of wings. I'm going to fussy cut everything out and then start putting everything together to create my composition. While I really love that rainbow wig, I'm deciding that I would rather put this blue hair on my peculiar old lady. I think that suits her a little better. I've also cut out those purple pumpkins and some of the vintage labels that are part of the kit. And now I'm going to take some cheesecloth and create some texture with that. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to add some gesso with a paintbrush onto the cheesecloth. Just add it in dabs, not smoothly over. Leave some blotches, leave it thin in some areas, and leave it to crinkle. And once it's dry, it becomes quite crispy, which is really, really nice. I quite like that feel and that look. And then the blobs dry and you've got thick layers and thin layers, which is really, really a fun texture to work with. So I'm making one for each of the cards, and I'm also going to put some plain cheesecloth too. As you can see, look, it's super crispy, and I do love working with cheesecloth like that. I'm now going to work on my composition and my layering of where all my elements are going to go. I play around with this quite a bit, trying to get it right and balanced, and then in the end, decided that I need the castle in the background. So the picture is sort of in 3 layers. We've got the castle in the background, then you've got the peculiar figure, and then in the front is the pumpkin with the vintage labels. Once everything is placed where I want it to be, I'm going to start gluing it down, and I'm just gluing it down with some craft glue and a paintbrush. You could use a hot glue gun, which I normally use, but for this I want to still be able to move the element if needed. So a craft glue or a Mod Podge or gel medium works better because it doesn't dry obviously automatically, and you can still move it around to get the placement that you want. For this corner cluster, for each one, I'm adding additional white cheesecloth sort of all around the purple pumpkin, so it stands a little bit more from the dark background. And then I also have some black thread, just normal sewing thread, that I've bunched up and placed there for some more texture, and I like the look it normally gives underneath elements. And then I'm sticking on my little bat. I'm going to add a few highlights now. I've got an orange acrylic marker just where I've cut the hair. There's a few little white bits where I couldn't get my scissors into, so I'm just using the acrylic marker to fill that in, and then I'm doing some scribbles to bring up the orange to sort of coordinate the colors. I will do the same with the blue for the blue hair with some blue scribbles on that one. And then because everything is quite dark and I want to be able to see the different layers, I'm going around the pumpkin with the white acrylic marker very lightly. I'm also rubbing it with my finger as I go. I don't want it too bright. I just want it to stand out a little bit more, to pop off the page. Thank you so much for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. Please subscribe to my channel and select the little bell so you get notified every time I upload new videos. I will pop a link to Luise Heinzl's Etsy shop in the description of this video. Do pop by and have a look at her beautiful creations. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you again soon. Bye.